Good morning, students of class 10. My name is Saryu Prasad Pandit, and today I am going to take you to second chapter of First Flight, class 10. The name of this chapter is A Long Walk to Freedom. As you know, as I have talked, A Long Walk to Freedom, this must be written by someone who has taken part in independence movement of a nation. As for India, Mahatma Gandhi did it, Subhash Chandra Bose did it, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru did it, and so many other freedom fighters are there who helped India achieve its independence, the freedom. Similarly, there are so many other countries, those were once not independent. They were under the rule of the white Britishers, and one of the nation, I must tell you, that you also yourself know, is South Africa. The struggle of South African independence is quite similar to Indian one. If you compare two national figures of these two countries, one will be Indian Gandhi and other will be African Mandela. Obviously, this story is scripted. Story I won't say. This is an autobiography written by Nelson Mandela, the first non-white president of South Africa. Let's have a glimpse of this chapter. As I have told you, a long walk means a huge destination is covered. The struggle goes through, ultimately it has some fruit. The fruit is here the independence that comes after lots of hardship. So, what is the summary? What is the gist of this poem? This autobiography. You will have to pay attention for nearly 20 to 30 minutes and you will get everything. This video will be made into two parts. So enjoy the first one where you will be getting the summary. Okay. So A Long Walk to Freedom is an autobiography of Nelson Mandela, and as I have told you that he was the first non-white South African president. This piece of autobiography, that is a part of A Long Walk to Freedom, portrays the oath-taking ceremony of the African president Nelson Mandela. Whatever events take place there, you will have to be attentive till I complete. This article is for Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom, and as you know that it includes the description of the inauguration. Inauguration means Udghatan ceremony and citation from his speech and about his journey to being a freedom fighter. How he goes through this long voyage of freedom, how much sacrifices he makes. These things will be elaborated in coming parts, but before you go to that part, just pay some of the important points. That this incident takes place at the inauguration ceremony when the president of South Africa, he takes an oath as the first non-white president of South Africa after their long struggle for freedom. So, in South Africa, a brutal practice named apartheid was very popular in those days. It referred to the discrimination between the people on the basis of their race and color, so white and black there were two categories of people. And the discrimination was not only at the social level but also at the economical and political level. White people always held prestigious positions and blacks were treated as slaves. So here we should start now. A Long Walk to Freedom is all about the struggle of freedom of South Africa on May 10, 1994, when Nelson Mandela took his vow as the first black president of South Africa, and therefore it was becoming a newborn democratic country. Nelson Mandela took the oath as the first black president. The dynasty, the dictatorship, the huge reign of the whites were coming to an end, and the new journey was about to start with that oath ceremony. Many dignitaries from different countries had almost gathered there to witness that significant scene that was rare in that time. And Mandela had to deliver a speech. In his speech, he thanked the present dignitaries. He assured his countrymen that his country would never ever experience the same suppression of one by other. How can it be possible that a human being will be the boss of other human being? A human being will be treated like an animal by the other human being. A human being will pay no respect to other human beings because the colors are different, because one is superior and other is inferior. Such discriminations were coming to an end. So he says that now South Africa will become a country where nobody will be treated inferior because of color, because of race, because of creed, or because of gender. There will be equality. All will be called South African. One thing, very crucial thing in this chapter is that when it was going on, that time two national anthems were played. One was for the white people, that was already there, and second was for the black people, that was newly born one. So it was an amazing scene where a country gets two national anthems. Mandela could have opted one, but he knew that the white people are equally important as the blacks are. So he was going to finish that revengeful discrimination, and he wanted to have equality among people. I hope the things are getting clear. So, in his speech, he said that the democracy will be established, where the country will be for people, of people, and by people. And a government of no discrimination will be established. Such were his uttering. The people of South Africa sang two national anthem that I already told you, that was a symbol of the finishing of that thin and thick line of discrimination between two major groups of people. Before that day of 1994, they were two different categories. But now, on that day, he was tying everyone into one single thread, one country and one nationality. There will be no differences between people on the basis of caste, color, and creed. So, Mandela, he remembered that the reason for this movement was that black-skinned people were exploited by the white people. He said that this type of suppression of people of South Africa is the origin of many stars. People must learn to hate first, because if they hate, then they can be taught to love, as love comes from the opposite circumstances. He also says that a brave man is not that who does not feel afraid, but who conquers it. The tough situation make brave people. And brave people are those who never like to surrender. They like to fight hard until the victory is captured by them. In life, a man has two major obligations. First, towards his family, to his parents, to his wife, to his children, and second, on the other hand, the obligation towards his country. He wanted people to think for country, to help country grow as the leader one, as the developed one. People and the community are the priority of the same citizen who gives priority to his family, his children, his wives, his parents, and so on. Everyone must fulfill his duty as per his inclination and interest, but it was very tough to fulfill in a country like South Africa. When Mandela became an adult, then he understood that his freedom was only an illusion. In fact, he was the slave of exploitation. He also understood that not only he was a slave, but his other family members were also the slave people. He believed, according to him, that freedom is also necessary, important, mandatory for them who were suppressing others in the past. They also have the right to have it, because snatcher of others' freedom is a prisoner of the same. That was the greatest thought given by Nelson Mandela. That's your problem that you want to take it, but I think that we want to give you, and givers are always greater than the takers. Mandela could have discriminated revengefully, but no, he thought that this country should not belong to only one caste, creed, or color. It is for all. Then only equality can be established, democracy can be established. So he was remembering his exploitation, how much he was exploited by the whites in the past. But today, when he came out from the prison after almost 2.5 decades of imprisonment, his thoughts were completely changed. Basically, he was inspired by Gandhism. He believed in truth and non-violence. So, let's go through the chapter. Presently, Mandela is giving a speech where he is indicating that how South Africa will grow with the help of white and with the help of black, and they must come together in order to make that South African Republic go upper and upper and upper. So, the brave man is not the one who does not feel afraid, but he is the one who conquers that fear. Mandela said that every man has his duties towards his country and community too. And that's what he wanted to emphasize during his speech. And his speech gives an immense light on the humanity. He believes that a country cannot grow unless and until the people of the country are aware about their responsibilities towards the country. So this is all about the gist of this chapter. We can have some of the points for this chapter. Remember, the quick revision notes will be like this. Nelson Mandela, first one. Nelson Mandela swears as the first black president of South Africa on 10th May 1994. The first point. The second point is that at the time of his swearing, two national anthems were sung. He wished that freedom in Africa should reign, it should prosper, it should go longer, and it should be eternal. The swearing, the third point is, the swearing in the ceremony took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater in Pretoria, one of the historical places of South Africa. Pretoria. Number 4 is, he addressed the rainbow gathering with a gist, telling that never, never and never again it should be that the beautiful land would experience the oppression of one by another. He was greatly hurt, grief-stricken because of the past. The past had no peace, but they were turned into pieces. The blacks were suppressed. They were oppressed and they were exploited by the white. Next point is that he wished that freedom in Africa should last as long as the sun in the sky, as long as the moon around the earth, and as long as the great oceans will stay in the lap of this earth. Next point is that the army officials who could have caught and have put him in jail before were saluting him to pay respect to a newly born democracy. You can imagine this one. This is really important one. That there was a time when he was caught by the officers and he was put into jail. He was exploited by the same officers. Now they were saluting Nelson Mandela. The prisoner was now the prison keeper. One who went to jail by the officials, the same officials who had held his hand to the prison, now they were escorting him to that amphitheater by saluting. The time got changed. Most important point you will remember. The two national anthems were sung at the time of the that swearing, that oath-taking ceremony. That is one of the very vital point of this chapter, because it shows that one was for the black and other was for the white, and both could play a vital part to uplift that country as a democratic one, as a republic one. He had no hatred for the white people. He wanted both to come together so that the journey becomes easier. Now he goes through some of the pathetic moments of the past. He recalls back the history and pays homage to the national martyrs who sacrificed their life for the sake of their motherland in order to get that freedom. The freedom does not come unless and until you pay for it. So there were thousands and lakhs of people who sacrificed their life for the sake of freedom for the country. So he pays homage. He tells about, next point, that the martyrs were the men of extraordinary courage and wisdom and generosity. Sacrifices are not made by the cowards. Sacrifices come through the brave people. So those who sacrificed their lives were the pillars, were the bricks of that democracy, and without those great people, that democracy would not have been a real one. It would have been a dream. Next point is, that's why he pays homage to the national martyrs, and he thinks that without them this movement could have been just an imaginary one. Next point is that the country of South Africa is rich in mineral and gems, but these two things, minerals and gems, cannot be utilized unless and until there is a skill and handy human resource comes to utilize their best of uses. He tells, no one is born to hate another person just because of the color or the skin or the background or the religion. All are the sons of God, so all must live together with harmony and brotherhood. You know, if people learn to hate, they can be taught to love. Everything can be taught. We can make a man devil because of the education, and because of the education we can make him hermit, saint, and even the angel and the prophet. So he talks that man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never exhausted. Men. He talks about the twin obligations, duties. Obligation towards his family and obligation towards his country. While discharging his duties, he found he was not free. Hence, he joined African National Congress, fought for the freedom of his country. He goes through his past. Why he joined that? There must be some meaningful life. And what could be a better meaningful life than a life that brings forth freedom for the coming generation, for the posterity? He is well known about the oppressors must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. The oppressors and the oppressed are alike. And they are robbed of their humanity. Forgiveness. That's one of the greatest virtue of a man. And without this virtue, he stays as ill-fated. You cannot be great unless and until you have the art of forgiving. And Nelson Mandela wants that those who oppressed, those who suppressed, they should also exist with the race that was suppressed and oppressed by them. That's why two national anthems are sung there in the amphitheater at the oath-taking ceremony. With him, there are two more people who takes oath as the deputy vice president. There is a great role of his daughter here in this story, who plays a very vital role with Nelson Mandela to accomplish that mission that he had dreamed way back in the past. Presently, the chapter is over. I hope that the concepts are clear. If not clear, there are questions, and you are welcome. Thank you.